All right, we're rolling. Hello, funky, groovy, cool people. This is Frank Yon coming to you. Not live, but coming to you from Asheville, North Carolina, home of a bunch of weirdos, to be honest with you. But I'm one of those weirdos, so I fit right in. So today, back on the soft tackle thing, I wanted to tie what I feel has been the most productive soft tackle for me here in Western North Carolina, and that's the pheasant tail soft tackle. We're tying this one on a jig hook. This is a great point fly on a Euro rig. So, the pheasant tail and the hare's ear, two of the top flies, probably the two top nymphs ever tied. So, I try to use these as much as I can, especially when fish have seen some pressure and they've seen all the junk flies like your wiggle worms and, mop flies and eggs and all that nonsense. They get hip to that deal. So I try to go with more natural. So this really is a good mayfly imitation. And so the hook, this is the Indomitable Hackle H400 BL, number 14. I love this hook. This is a great hook. The bead is, I also love this color. This is a Fulling Mill 3.2 millimeter slotted tungsten. In the old gold color. So I've got both of these today at Maggie Valley Fly Shop. And I tell you, their fly tying selection is really, really good. Shannon and his wife, Kristen, have done a fantastic job really building that business and building the fly tying part of it up. For thread, we're just going to use a very basic, this is just a purple because I have it on the bobbin. Just a purple 70 denier. For the body, we're going to use pheasant tail. Pretty basic, and for the tail. And then for the soft tackle, we're going to use part of the starling. We're going to probably use one of these little fellas up here. The starling is a good alternative to Hungarian partridge because this is a darker color. And it's sometimes the Hungarian partridge feathers are just too white. So I kind of switch it up a little bit. On a pheasant tail, I tend to like it a little bit darker. So we're going to use this little fella I pulled off of here. All right, so let's get this party started. So to start with, I'm going to get the thread started on the shank of the hook. Get it started, cut the tag end off. Oof. I'm trying to talk like a Euro because I'm tying a jig fly. That's crazy stuff. All right, so I'll take it back to the bend of the hook. And then I'm going to take it all the way up to the bead. And here I'm going to, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm making a little thread down. This little 70 denier thread, it takes a few revolutions to get enough thread build up to hold that bead in place. So I like to do this. I just don't like the bead flopping around. And, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and you'll see some people do that, some people not. So I don't know that it's really just personal preference, I guess. All right, so we're going to go ahead and tie in the ribbing material, which is, I think I skipped over this part earlier. This is just a, ultra wire extra small copper. This is not going to be a very flashy fly with a lot of flash. So this gives a little bit of shine, as does the bead, but it's not a lot of, doesn't have a lot of blingity bling. All right, so I will come and bring this down to the bend of the hook, and I will come up 2 little revolutions, and I'm going to pull off about, I don't know how many fibers off this pheasant tail, but I just do it by looks basically. So I'm gonna pull off about that many. I will cut the little gnarlies off again. So I'm going to tie the tail in. So let me get this ribbing material out of the way. I want it fairly short, so it's going to be about that long. And at this point, you know, you can adjust it if you think it's a little long. I think this may be just a hair on the long side, so I'm going to shorten it up just a little bit. Now that I've got that in place, I will advance the thread up to the bead, put a 1/2 inch in it. All right, so now I will use the rotary function of the vise. And I will get this started right here. And I didn't build a taper in it with the thread, which I sometimes do, but I'm really building it with, I'm making extra revolutions around what will be the thorax to kind of give it that taper. Although I'm not totally sure taper is necessary, but it does look pretty cool. All right, so I've got the, get this out of the way. I always make a few extra wraps when I'm binding the pheasant tail down, because this stuff is really wimpy. Stuff breaks pretty easy. So I'm just going to make spiral wraps. Get my spacing a little wonky. All right, so now I've got it up. This gives it a little bit of shine, this ribbing material, this wire. It also gives a little more security. A little more durability, I guess is a better term. So now I've got the wire. I'll bend it back the way from whence it came and break that bad boy loose. Now I'm going to take just a wee bit, I can get it out of this package, of, said this wasn't going to have much flash, but I am going to put a little bit on it. A little bit of peacock ice dub. As with ice dub especially, less is more. So make a little bit of a, I'll put a little bit more. So you can see I'm using a tiny amount. I'm using a pretty good bit of pressure to try to get all those little fibers wrapped around the thread. That keeps you from getting a dog leg in it. So, all right, evidently I blew my feather away that I was going to use, so we'll use this one. All right, so what you can see, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but I'm preening these feathers, these fibers back until I get just a little tip. And then I'm going in and I'm cutting that off. So I'm creating a little tie-in point. And I'll make 3 or 4 revolutions and get that anchor down. Now I will take my small hackle pliers. I love these little light ones. Now I'm going to try to get this feather oriented where the fibers are basically pointing back, but that's not completely necessary, because when you're finished tying it on, or wrapping it around, you can kind of pull the feathers back with your fingers, and I'll show you that in just a second. All right, so I have captured that stem of the feather, and I'm going to slip in here, cut it off just like that. I have a bad habit of turning the fly at an angle where it's really hard to see on camera, but it's easier for me to see tying. All right, so there we go. So all that's left now is a whip finish, and I tend to do a double whip finish. There's one. There's two. And bada bing. Here is your pheasant tail soft tackle tied on a jig with starling wings. I really like this starling. You can see these little fibers will really wiggle and move in the current, and this fly will definitely catch fish. And you can get all this material at Maggie Valley Fly Shop. So if you're in the area, go by. If you're not, give them a call. In addition to all the fly tying material, they got a great selection of materials: rods, reels, line, clothing, guide trips with the best damn guide service in all of Asheville and in all of Western North Carolina, and, if I may say so, the best fly shop in Western North Carolina. So, all right, well, hope you enjoyed it. Have a good weekend.